It's murder most foul. Delhi police have arrested Aftab Amin Poonawalla, a part-time chef and a former call center employee, for having murdered his live-in partner Shraddha at their Mehrauli home in South Delhi. He then is believed to have chopped her body in more than 30 pieces. He then went to a market. He bought a 300-liter refrigerator and kept Shraddha's dismembered body in the freezer of that fridge. We bring you spine-chilling details of the investigation so far.
A love story that turned into hate story. He hacked her. He froze her. 35 pieces of Shraddha scattered across capital. Aftab's act has curdled India's blood.
After the murder, Aftab is reported to have ordered food online and then kept the leftovers in the same fridge as Shraddha's dismembered body. Now this is according to investigations so far. Incidentally, police say there is no remorse. He's not sorry for what he's done. I'm Gaurav Sawant. We get you the latest, but first as always, the headlines at 8. Supreme Court says forced religious conversions a matter of concern and can impact national security. Directs the centre to file an affidavit listing measures to curb forced conversions. NCP leader Jitendra Awad lands in another controversy. FIR filed for alleged sexual assault on a woman. Awad resigns as MLA to protest what he calls is a witch hunt. Big development in the Delhi liquor gate investigations. Enforcement Directorate gets 5 days custody of Aam Aadmi Party's communication in charge Vijay Nair and Hyderabad-based businessman Abhishek Boinpalli. Flood alert issued for 5 districts in Tamil Nadu. 6-year-old child dies after falling into an overflowing irrigation canal. Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrives in Indonesia for the G20 Summit. Food and energy security to be top focus. Indian diaspora welcomes the Prime Minister in Bali. More chilling details are emerging of this murder most foul. Delhi police officials have told India Today that Aftab Amin Poonawalla sat on Shraddha's chest and strangled her on the 18th of May this year. The next day, that's the 19th of May, he went to the local market and bought a 300-liter refrigerator. It's in the freezer of this fridge that he stored her chopped up body for the next 18 days. Police say Aftab used a chemical solution to clean that Chhatarpur apartment. No bloodstains have been found because it was in the toilet that he cut her body into 35 pieces, cleaned it and stored it in the refrigerator, and then cleaned the bathroom with a chemical solution. Not just that, after having disposed of the body, he cleaned the fridge with chemical solution, and police investigations say they didn't find a spot of blood in the refrigerator. I quickly want to cut across to India Today's Arvind Ojha for more on this big story. Also with me is Abhishek Bhalla, who's been tracking the latest developments on the story. But Arvind, to you first. कहां से उसने फ्रिज खरीदा? अभी तक की जांच में क्या निकल कर आया है? किस तरह का ये केमिकल सॉल्यूशन था? पुलिस के सूत्र आपको क्या बता रहे हैं, अरविंद?
देखिए, इंडिया टुडे के हमारे कलीग राहुल गौतम उस शॉप पर भी पहुंचे थे जहां से फ्रिज खरीदा था। 18 मई को मर्डर किया था आफ्ताब ने श्रद्धा का, और 19 मई को जो फ्रिज है वो खरीद करके लेकर के आया था आफ्ताब। और जाहिर सी बात है, इसका मतलब कि 18 मई को मर्डर किया है और उस दौरान उसने ये पूरी प्लानिंग कर ली थी कि कैसे बॉडी को डिस्पोज ऑफ करना है, ताकि अगर पुलिस को कभी इन फ्यूचर जानकारी मिले तो कोई एविडेंस नहीं मिले। हम आपको बताएं कि इस वक्त हम उस पुलिस स्टेशन में मौजूद हैं जहां पर आफ्ताब से पूछताछ हो रही है। अभी अभी ये जो सामने की तरफ कमरा है, इस कमरे में पूछताछ चल रही है। अभी अभी पुलिस उसका मेडिकल करवा के लेकर आई है। हम आपको वो फ्रिज भी दिखाते हैं जहां से एविडेंस कलेक्ट करने के लिए फॉरेंसिक एक्सपर्ट को कड़ी मशक्कत करनी पड़ी है, क्योंकि मर्डर करने के बाद पूरी प्लानिंग के तहत जिस कमरे में श्रद्धा का उसने मर्डर किया था, वहां पर जितने भी ब्लड स्टेन थे उसको केमिकल सॉल्यूशन से उसने साफ किया। उसके बाद ये फ्रिज जो 19 मई को खरीद करके लेकर आया था, जिसमें श्रद्धा की जो बॉडी है वो चॉप करके रखी गई थी, और फिर इस फ्रिज में जितना भी ब्लड स्टेन था उसको उसने क्लीन किया। यानी जो कमरा था वो पूरी तरह से क्लीन कर दिया, वहां पर ब्लड स्टेन के एक भी निशान नहीं थे। ये फ्रिज जिसमें बॉडी को चॉप करके उसके टुकड़े रखे हुए थे बॉडी पार्ट्स के, जिसको रात में वो एक टुकड़ा रात के 2 बजे वो निकालता था और उसको छतरपुर के फॉरेस्ट एरिया में फेंकता था जी वहां पर। लेकिन दोनों ही जगह पर, चाहे कमरे की बात कर ली जाए या फ्रिज की, दोनों जगह पर ही ब्लड स्टेन नहीं मिले। पूछताछ में उसने खुलासा किया है कि केमिकल सॉल्यूशन से तमाम वो चीजें ब्लड स्टेन उसने साफ कर दिया था। इन फ्यूचर अगर पुलिस को ये जानकारी मिले तो कोई एविडेंस नहीं मिले। हालांकि एक्सेप्ट जरूर किया है आफ्ताब ने कि किस तरीके से उसने मर्डर किया।
जी रहिए मेरे साथ फॉर द बेनिफिट ऑफ व्यूअर्स हु आर जस्ट जॉइनिंग अस। पुलिस से ही प्लान्ड not just the murder but also the destruction of evidence. So a young interfaith couple, 27-year-old Shraddha and 28-year-old Aftab Amin Poonawalla, they ran away from Mumbai. Shraddha's family was opposed to their relationship, but then she was an adult. She decided that she wanted to live in with Aftab. In May this year, they left their home, they came to Delhi, but the family had absolutely no updates from Shraddha after some time. Her phone was switched off. On the 8th of November, her family filed a missing persons complaint, and then police were able to piece together, at least that is what police say, they were able to piece together details of a murder most foul.
Aftab Amin Poonawalla is a trained chef. In the virtual world, he called himself a guy who loves cooking and is committed to food. In reality, he allegedly strangled his live-in partner Shraddha, chopped her body into at least 35 pieces and disposed of them in the forests of Chhatarpur on the outskirts of Delhi. Aftab has told the police that he killed Shraddha because she was pressuring him to marry her. The murder allegedly took place in mid-May this year. The police say Aftab used a saw to cut Shraddha's body into at least 35 different pieces. He then stored her body parts in a 300-litre LG fridge. The pieces of his partner's body were kept in the fridge for nearly 18 days. Aftab says he used incense sticks to cover the stench of the dead body in the house.
ये फ्रिज खरीद करके आफ्ताब लाता है, उसके बाद फ्लैट में इस फ्रिज को रखता है, उसके बाद श्रद्धा की बॉडी के लगातार वो टुकड़े करता है, उन टुकड़ों को इस फ्रिज में वो रखता है, और जैसा पूछताछ में उसने बताया है कि एक एक टुकड़ा रोज वो फ्रिज से निकालता था, पॉलीथीन में डालता था, उसके बाद बैग में उसे रखकर तकरीबन रात को 2 बजे आफ्ताब अपने फ्लैट से निकलता था और छतरपुर के आसपास जो जंगल है वहां रोजाना एक टुकड़ा फेंकता था.
Over 18 days, Aftab is said to have disposed of pieces of Shraddha at different places in the Chhatarpur forests of Delhi. He would step out every day after 2 a.m. to get rid of a different body part. He would carry them in a plastic bag, throw the pieces out in a forest and carry the bag back home. The Delhi police are now hunting for traces of Shraddha's dismembered body. She had left Mumbai for Delhi because her parents were opposed to her relationship with Aftab, little knowing that her partner would allegedly murder her, butcher her and scatter her remains in different parts of the capital city in a most gruesome way. With Arvind Ojha in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
Police say Aftab and Shraddha met through a dating app in 2019, and once they moved in together in a rented house in Delhi's Chhatarpur area, the two would fight frequently. On the 18th of May, once again, Aftab and Shraddha had an argument. Aftab told the police that Shraddha was putting pressure on him. She wanted the two of them to get married. He apparently sat on her chest, strangled her. Once he realized she was dead, he had to destroy the evidence. So he chopped off her body. He used a chemical to clean all traces of blood, and each day for the next fortnight, he disposed of pieces of her body.
A chilling murder that's keeping India up at night. A woman butchered by her lover in the national capital. The body chopped into at least 35 pieces, we're told. The butchered pieces of Shraddha kept in this fridge for as many as 18 days. Later, the chopped body parts of Shraddha are scattered across Delhi. This is how Aftab Amin Poonawalla allegedly killed his live-in partner and girlfriend, Shraddha Vikas Walkar. The reason behind the gruesome murder? She was allegedly pressuring him into getting married. The couple would often fight over this. Aftab and Shraddha fell in love when they met at a common workplace in Mumbai. As her family was against their interfaith relationship, the couple eloped to Delhi, where they began living in South Delhi's Mehrauli area. Shraddha's family was aware of her whereabouts, but when they noticed that the updates had stopped, her father visited Delhi to check on her. When he was unable to establish contact with his daughter, Shraddha's father lodged a police complaint in November. Aftab, arrested on Monday, allegedly committed the murder in May this year.
फादर ने मुंबई में कंप्लेंट कराई है, तो उनको मालूम चला कि लास्ट लोकेशन लड़की की दिल्ली थी, तो हमारे पास इस कंप्लेंट को लेके फॉरवर्ड करने आई। उसके घर पे जाके उसको मिल लिया हमने, वहाँ पे घर पे पकड़ लिया। उसने बताया कि लड़की को उसने मार दिया था। लड़की का गला दबाया पहले, फिर लड़की की बॉडी डिस्पोज ऑफ कर दी। थोड़ा उसने टाइम गैप पे बॉडी के टुकड़े फेंके, अलग-अलग जगह पे सारे टुकड़े फेंके।
The police say Aftab continued living in the same flat in Mehrauli, where Shraddha's body parts were allegedly preserved in a fridge, like nothing happened. The police have filed a murder case against Aftab after taking him into custody. Only a few bones have so far been recovered in the police search. A hunt is still on to find the rest of Shraddha's chopped, dismembered and scattered body parts. With Arvind Ojha, Akshay Dongre and Rahul Gautam in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
What kind of a person would say I love you and then strangle the person he claims to love, and then hack her body into 35 pieces, store it in a refrigerator and then dispose it off piece by piece over a fortnight, and then continue to live in the same house, same society, pretending as if nothing had happened, as if all is well? Let's try and make sense of this murder most foul. Joining me on the show, Dr. Sandeep Vora is a clinical psychiatrist. T.R. Kakkar is former Delhi Police Commissioner. Abhishek Bhalla is our National Bureau Chief. He's been tracking crime stories for decades. And Arvind Ojha, of course, heads the crime team on this. We've spoken to Arvind. I want to quickly bring in Mr. T.R. Kakkar to understand from him. Sir, girl meets a boy on a dating app. They become friends. They decide to live together. And then she ends up in his fridge in 35 pieces. Is this murder most foul? What do you make of this? Does it all add up, or it's a fantastic story? We still need evidence.
Indeed, what has happened is a we can always term it as murder most foul, most gruesome. Now whether the commentary that you're making, whether they decided to live together or not, I have a doubt, because they supposed to have fallen in love. They eloped from Bombay to Delhi, but there could be something else in the mind of the boy. Otherwise, a few calls here and there should not be tempting him to resort to this sort of gruesome crime. Okay, that is one thing. Now the question is, murder has been committed in the most gruesome fashion. Body was dismembered to 35 pieces or maybe more. It was disposed of in about 18 days' time, piece by piece. What is possible today? The possibility is very simple, and of course the investigation is very complicated. The entire case has to be worked on the basis of circumstantial evidence and a very strong forensic findings.
Okay.
As far as the clue is concerned, we know that he lived in that particular flat. If the flat, and I'm sure Delhi police is quite capable going to do it, even a speck of blood somewhere in some crevices of the four walls, or in the fridge where the body was kept, howsoever you might clean the place, if the forensic experts are careful, they'll find something.
Okay.
Now that is then enough for DNA profiling of the individual. That is one. Secondly, where the body has been disposed of, the pieces were disposed of, I wonder if anything will be available except the
bones,
plastic
perhaps,
bags or whatever he has used.
Yes.
They will still be around. They will still be around, and again the blood can be collected from there. There is no problem at all.
Fair enough. That still needs to be done,
Now,
Dr. Vora.
161 statement.
Aftab, according to the police, ordered food online after the murder and kept the leftovers in the same fridge as Shraddha's dismembered body. What does this speak of his mind and his state of mind, sir?
Okay, Gaurav, whatever you have told me till now, whatever we have heard, assuming these all are facts as has been given to media. Now, this is not possible for a person who has a normal personality, not even one person. But usually it is seen that such people have hidden criminal traits or psychopathic tendencies. And usually they have some sort of similar past history of crime in which they would have done something like that in the past also, which might have given them him the confidence of doing something similar. So, assuming everything is the fact, which as the time passes by, as Kakar was saying that, we require the evidence and all. So such things are not possible for a normal human being. Person who does not have any remorse or guilt, usually this profile fits into a serial killer. They are those who do this. But yes, it is possible for a person to also do it like it has been done in this case. But usually that person has grossly dissociated thought process in the deeply ingrained maladaptive pattern in the type of nature he has. He would have, which is an antisocial or psychopathic trait.
Abhishek, what about her parents? Investigations also indicate she was murdered in May and a missing persons complaint was only lodged in November. Did her parents not suspect that something was amiss for 6 months?
Well, Gaurav, that delay in itself, is something that is going to haunt the parents and the family because they were not in touch with the girl. This is what the father has said in his statement to the police, and it was only once the missing complaint from Maharashtra was transferred to the Delhi police just a week back is when the Delhi police swung into action, and the first suspect was this man who she was living with, because if she was missing for so long, and the last that was known of her was when she had come and started living in this place in Mehrauli. Then obviously this man was going to be the suspect. Now that the police has made these revelations, of course the next big step is a challenging investigation to gather all the evidence which can prove the case beyond doubt.
अरविंद, पुलिस अभी तक क्या-क्या सबूत जुटा पाई है? मतलब पुलिस के पास एक कहानी तो है, अदालत में जो भी मुल्जिम का बयान है वो तो मान्य नहीं होगा। आफ्ताब के खिलाफ अभी तक सबूत क्या है पुलिस के पास?
देखिए, बिल्कुल आपने गौरव एक बहुत सही बात पकड़ी कि जो अदालत में जो अक्यूज का बयान है वो मान्य नहीं होगा, और बहुत मुमकिन है कि इस तरह के केसेस में पुलिस के सामने भले अक्यूज कुछ भी कबूल करे, लेकिन जब वो वकीलों से कंसर्न होता है तो अदालत में वो पलट जाता है। पलटने की वजह भी है। देखिए, जो श्रद्धा जिसका मर्डर हुआ है उसकी बॉडी चॉप करके अलग अलग इलाकों में डिस्पोज ऑफ की गई है। बॉडी के कुछ पार्ट्स, हड्डियां कुछ रिकवर हुई हैं, बॉडी का ऊपर का हिस्सा जो गर्दन के ऊपर फेस वो रिकवर नहीं हुआ है। तो ये बहुत ही चैलेंजिंग है। हाँ, जिस तरह से उसने बयान दिया, जहां से उसने फ्रिज खरीदा वहां फ्रिज की बाकायदा रसीद, फ्रिज रिकवर किया गया। उसके अलावा जहां से उसने चाकू खरीदा था उस चाकू शॉप के बयान, शॉपकीपर के बयान, उसके अलावा जो हथियार है वो रिकवर किया गया। लेकिन बॉडी पार्ट्स वो अभी रिकवर करने हैं। हालांकि पुलिस ने 5 दिन की कस्टडी ली है, उसमें इन तमाम चीजों के बारे में वो उससे कबूल करवाएगी और कोशिश ये करेगी कि जो बॉडी पार्ट्स है वो रिकवर किए जाए, उसको कहीं ना कहीं किसी तरह से बरामद किया जाए। या इसमें इंपॉर्टेंट बात है कि 18 मई को मर्डर हुआ है और 10 नवंबर को इस मर्डर केस का खुलासा हुआ, यानी करीब करीब 6 महीने हो चुके हैं। और जैसा उसने बताया कि जो बॉडी पार्ट्स है जब वो उसको लेकर जाता था पॉलिथीन में और बैग में रखकर, लेकिन जब उसको फेंकता था तो पॉलिथीन से निकाल कर फेंकता था। यानी अगर बॉडी पार्ट्स किसी जानवर के हाथ लग जाए तो कोई जानवर उसे खा ले, यानी एविडेंस का नामो निशान नहीं रहे। तो इसलिए ये पुलिस के लिए बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है कि वो किस तरह से एविडेंस कलेक्ट करते हैं। हालांकि कुछ बॉडी पार्ट्स जो आफ्ताब ने जो जगह बताए थे वहां से रिकवर किए गए हैं, जिसकी डीएनए सैंपलिंग भी करवाएगी दिल्ली पुलिस। लेकिन ये केस काफी चैलेंजिंग होने जा रहा है क्योंकि एविडेंस जुटाने के लिए उसके पास काफी वक्त था, तकरीबन 6 महीने का वक्त था।
जी मिस्टर कक्कड़, पुलिस ऑल्सो से he not only killed and dismembered her, but is also believed to have bought some kind of a chemical solution to wipe clean not just the fridge but also the bathroom. Does this not indicate a criminal bent of mind and careful, meticulous planning?
Here I will go with Dr. Bora, that definitely he appears to be a psychopath. Now can a psychopath of this nature do very meticulous planning as is now being revealed? Perhaps. You see, the earlier speaker was saying that he used some chemical also to wipe out traces. Believe me, I have had 34 years in the service. I can tell you a careful search by the forensic experts will definitely bring out something which will connect Shraddha's presence in that house. Okay, and that the blood is the most important thing. Similarly, as I mentioned earlier to you, he used to take it now, they say, in the plastic bag or some other bag. Unless he had disposed of those bags also by burning or something like that, those bags will still be available somewhere in the wilderness. Now that is where one has to concentrate, and once you get even one bag which can again have the DNA profiling and it connects that particular speck of blood with Shraddha, it establishes something. However, I fully agree it is going to be a challenging task because a few body parts are being recovered, but to construct the body.
Okay, and it's been 6 months now, Dr. Vora, 6 months, a chemical solution to wipe clean the fridge and the bathroom. Finding traces of blood extremely difficult, virtually impossible. Aftab showing absolutely no sign of remorse, and the fact that he's been living in the same house, the same society for 6 months. And he told Shraddha's family that they had a fight and she walked away. This would show he killed her, planned to dispose of the body, planned to remove all evidence, and was living in society as if nothing had happened. For the police, this would perhaps be a perfect murder they would have to solve.
Absolutely right, Gaurav. The thing is, as I told you in the past, that you know, such cases in the world have been there. Such infamous cases have been there. Usually, what happens is that the person is caught with one murder, and then when they check the details, it has happened in India also. Then such they turn out to be actual serial killers. I don't know about this case, but actually this profiling what we are listening to, and if it is found to be 100% correct, it actually is fitting into somebody who's trained and has done something maybe in the past, and this could be more than that. One victim, it could be more than that. This is how it has been revealed in the past in many serial cases, serial murder cases. So it is somebody who's perfected the art of crime, hardened criminal with no remorse, and he's living in the society which is not possible for a person who has normal emotional development. So he has to be either a hardened criminal or a full-fledged psychopath who might have done similar acts of violence or heinous crimes in the past also.
Okay, Abhishek, the police would need corroborative evidence, because even if the police know he went and bought a fridge from shop X, buying a fridge is not a crime. He bought a couple of knives from shop Y, buying kitchen knives or cleavers, that's not a crime. There is a spine-chilling story, but this spine-chilling story would require corroborative evidence to be proven in a court of law. This is just great headlines and nothing beyond that.
That's true, Gaurav. You know, one needs to look at what the police has as of now. They have a suspect in custody. They have a disclosure from him, which the police says is a confession. And based on this disclosure, there is one solid bit of evidence that we can say at this point of time, which is the recovery of the mortal remains from a particular area. So while confessions are not admissible in court, but if a confession or a disclosure leads to a vital recovery such as this, then that bit of the disclosure becomes admissible in a court of law. But this too is circumstantial as of now, because the police obviously has not proved beyond doubt that the mortal remains are of this woman. This is something that a detailed investigation is likely to look into. Other than this, forensics from the house are extremely crucial as far as this case is concerned. If the police and the investigators can piece together some important evidence from that fridge that they have, and also from the bathroom or other parts of the home, then of course that will help the police build a watertight case.
Mr. Kakkar, given your more than 3 decades in the police, can a crime like this be prevented?
See, crimes committed like this, I would say, cannot be prevented. Because this is a story of the two people within the 4 walls of a particular place, house, a room, where they have gone in happily, have been living, of course in this case only for 2 days or 5 days earlier in the hotel. If you recollect, there was almost a similar case in Dehradun, where an assistant engineer had chopped off his wife, stored the parts in the fridge, and he kept on telling his son and daughter that the mother had gone on a pilgrimage or she has gone somewhere. Now, these are very few cases of this nature, but cases of similar nature have taken place earlier. Now, in this particular case, confining to this case, you see the association of that woman with him is established. The hotel will tell you they must have taken the IDs and all that, whatever there before giving him the room. Everything will be there. This place, Of course, the only problem is that the landlord did not inform the police. Had they informed the police, then there was some additional evidence could have been available of their staying to. But I'm sure a large number of people must have seen this man and that woman when she was there for 2 days. And if even an iota of doubt is going to establish that they were together even in that place. Now, that is what, and the other thing that I've told you is the circumstantial evidence backed by very strong evidence, scientific evidence found on the at the scene of crime, both in this room, in this fridge, and where he disposed. But that is very important, where he has disposed of the body, because I'm sure in his carelessness somewhere he must have thrown those bags,
but
or the plastic bags or other bags.
It's been 6 months since
even if
that
one
day.
bag we find, one bag we find.
Okay. Okay, Dr.
It
Vora,
will still be there.
would you look at this as a crime of passion? Are there any red flags? Are there any red flags that women should beware in a relationship? That how do you identify, whether your partner could actually be somebody like an Aftab?
See, as I was listening to the one of the packages on your channel, in which her friend was saying that few days before she disappeared, she had called and there was massive fight between both of them, and she had expressed her apprehension that in the anger he can, kill her. But the friend did not. Friend talked to Aftab, and friend then told him that in case it recurs, they can call police. But it was on insistence of Shraddha only that the friend did not go further. So I think the earliest sign for any woman or any person in a live-in relationship is if you find the person is irrational, aggressive, and not open to any suggestions or any compromise in any way. Those are the earliest red flags. And if you feel that somebody is trying to suffocate you in a relationship, or if you feel that somebody is trying to control you or your life, these are the earliest signs where one should be careful of. And the most important aspect I would suggest to everybody who's watching your channel is that when you feel uncomfortable in a relationship, it is better to sit down and talk to somebody whom you trust, excluding the partner. If you feel still you can't decide, it's better to take the help of a mental health professional. Besides, getting the details verified through reliable person of the past of that person. Somebody who has done something nasty in the past is likely to camouflage it, but if you are very serious about somebody, you should go into the details and check if there has been any past act of aggression, any case filed against him. If you don't want to do it yourself, you can ask somebody whom you trust, in any senior family members. He or she could help you there. So those are the ways in which you can prevent it, if it is something which is preventable.
So there are red flags, you just need to be aware, look at those red flags, and the moment you think a red flag is going up, there are corrective measures that should be taken immediately. For joining me here, gentlemen, on this India Today special, many thanks. A love story that actually turned into a hate story. In fact, in the past several years, there have been other gory crimes of passion that have stunned our country. Remember, decades ago, there was this infamous Tandoor murder case in the national capital, Naina Sani, and of course, you'd also recall the Maria Susairaj Neeraj Grover murder case. Here's a look at some of those sensational murder files.
When love turns fatal and lovers turn murderers. These are the horrific stories of passion, revenge and gruesome killings. In 1995, a macabre murder of 29-year-old Naina Sahni, who was killed and then burnt in Delhi's Ashoka Hotel's restaurant Tandoor, stunning India. Her husband Sushil Sharma, a Delhi Congress MLA, was the prime accused. Cops said he first shot Naina twice, instantly killing her in a drunken rage on suspicion of alleged affairs. And then chopped her into pieces. At the Bagia restaurant, a cop saw an unusually large fire over a tandoor with scraps of paper and wood, and a human torso sticking out. Sharma attempted alibi, but the evidence finally nailed him. Body of Mumbai-based television executive Neeraj Grover was chopped into pieces, stuffed into 3 bags and set on fire in a forest. 14 days after, Maria Susairaj, a struggling Kannada actress, lodged a complaint with the Malad police that her friend has gone missing after leaving her house on 7th May 2008. Later it was found that she was involved in his killing. Maria's fiancé, Emil Jerome, a naval officer, had killed Neeraj in a fit of rage. The reason? Grover had stayed at Maria's apartment and Jerome found out. Suspecting an affair, he flew down to Mumbai from Kochi and found them together. Shockingly, Maria helped Jerome to dispose the body off after purchasing a chopper from a shopping mall. Recently in August, a woman was arrested for allegedly killing her live-in partner after his body was found stuffed inside a trolley bag that she was carrying in Ghaziabad. On a routine check, police found a woman lugging a black trolley bag and on search found a man's body inside. Sharma told the police she wanted to marry Feroz alias Chwani, aged 23, but he kept refusing and called her characterless after she pressured him. In anger, she slit his throat with a razor. Bureau Report, India Today.
Union Law and Justice Minister Kiren Rijiju has upped the ante against independent India's first Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru on his 133rd birth anniversary, insisting Pandit Nehru put his political and personal interest before India's national interest on the issue of accession of Jammu and Kashmir. Union Law and Justice Minister Kiren Rijiju now joins me for more on this big political debate. Mr. Rijiju, that's a very serious charge that you have leveled against Pandit Nehru. How did Pandit Nehru put political interest or personal interest before national interest, as you put it, sir?
First of all, today is Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's birthday. He was our first Prime Minister and I pay my tributes to him. And as a part of the democratic system in which we are working, nobody should stand above criticism. Whatever has been done, if it is wrong, we should correct it, we should admit it. If anything good has been done, we should appreciate it. When it comes to the issue of Kashmir, we all are concerned because Kashmir has been an issue which has caused so much of loss, so much of pain, so much of tragedy for too many people.
Okay.
And looking at the history, it is very important that the facts of the history must be put before the people of the country. So what I have done is simply telling the truth to the country. All the records, all the papers which I have quoted are well before the people. Anybody who disputes these facts can go back to the records of the parliament and check it by themselves. So I have not stated anything on my own. I have not distorted the history. Rather, I have put the facts of the history before the nation.
Okay. Sir, let's take this step by step and one by one. You quote from Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's Lok Sabha speech from 1952 to say that the question of accession first came up before him in July 1947, before independence, but of course informally. So was it only Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's blunder, as you put it, or was it a collective failure of the then cabinet and government that there wasn't forward movement on it immediately?
If any decision is taken collectively, or if there is any action or decision by the cabinet we will put cabinet into question. But here it is Nehruji who himself have admitted that the matter came before him, the proposal came before him as an individual, and he said the time was not right for the Kashmir to be merged with India. So he in fact deferred the accession of Jammu and Kashmir with India. So that is how he prolonged it, he procrastinated the whole things, and it delayed, and which led to the invasion of the Kabilas and all these people, Pakistani forces. And when Indian forces made the intervention, by that time the part of Kashmir, which is a Pakistan occupied Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan, this has been occupied by the Pakistani forces, and that is why we are concerned that due to the incompetency or inaction or wrong action by first Prime Minister Pandit Nehruji, India had to pay a heavy price, and all those blunders which were committed are being corrected. That is why I had stated the wrong done by Nehruji has been undone by Narendra Modi ji.
Okay, okay. Sir, you're accusing independent India's first Prime Minister of being incompetent on the issue of accession of Jammu and Kashmir with the rest of the country. So, are you saying that Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was wrong to treat Kashmir as a special case, or saying that it would not be right or proper to rush things there? Was Pandit Nehru following the correct course of action, or was he following a wrong course of action, sir?
No, that is not correct, because if every princely state is to be merged with the Union of India with the consultation of the then rulers, then why should Kashmir be treated separately when the Kashmir ruler Maharaja Hari Singh already had expressed his willingness to merge with India? Why Nehruji had said that Kashmir is different and the will of the people of Kashmir must be taken into account, and special treatment is to be given to Sheikh Abdullah Sahab? Why this different yardsticks were applied in the case of Kashmir, because of which the afterwards problem came.
Okay.
And when the Kashmir issue was taken to the United Nations under wrong provisions, then unnecessarily the internal issue has been externalized, and it has been made as an international issue, and Pakistan has been given unduly platform and opportunity to raise in all the important international forums. So subsequently then comes the Article 370. So there are so many issues combined which could be termed as a series of blunders by Pandit Nehruji.
Okay. Sir, give me a moment. I'll come back to Article 370 in just a moment. But on taking the Kashmir issue to the United Nations, did Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru lack proper legal advice going to the UN under wrong article, as you put it? 1, should he not have gone to the UN at all? 2, should he not have been advised better by the then law minister and law officers that Pakistan became a party and not be seen as an aggressor that Pakistan truly was?
Precisely, that is my point, that Kashmir is an integral part of India. It should be treated as an internal matter. By taking Kashmir to United Nations, you are unnecessarily making it an international issue. So that is why I said these are some of the blunders which we must admit that it's a blunder. Of course, I can't go back and correct the history, but whatever is fact must be admitted. That is why the corrective course or whatever steps are to be taken has been taken by Modi ji. So these are something which everybody should accept it. I am not throwing something out of blue. These are well before the people. The facts are lying before us, and we should purely look from that angle only, based on the facts and figures.
Okay. Sir, explain the myth, as you put it, of UN mandated plebiscite. You talk of this, you also talk about the creation of the divisive Article 370. So how is how is this UN mandated plebiscite a blunder?
First of all, I already stated about why United Nations should come into the Kashmir affairs. So once Kashmir issue was brought before the United Nations, and they gave 3 conditions, which you all very well know, that Pakistan had to withdraw their forces from the Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and other areas. So that Pakistan didn't do, so the plebiscite and all doesn't come into the picture. So after that, what I'm saying is, Article 370 has been created to put Kashmir as a distinct and separate identity, which is not at par with the other states and union territories. Now, all the government of India has been launching important schemes, provisions. These were never applicable in Jammu and Kashmir. So now, after the abrogation of Article 70, the tribals are getting their rights, the scheduled castes are getting the benefits, the Bakarwal, the Gurjars are all recipients of the all the important and major schemes being initiated with the government of India. Women are getting their rights. So now the true spirit of democracy is now visible on the ground in Jammu and Kashmir. That is why Modi ji's historic decision and decision to remove Article 370 has been one of the most important decisions ever taken in the history of independent India.
Sir, I'll give you a moment. I'll come to the issue of Article 370 in just a moment. But for a moment, I want to take you back to 1946, where you write that Pandit Nehru plunged headlong into the Quit Kashmir movement. This was against the Dogra Hindu Maharaja of Kashmir, Maharaja Hari Singh. Why was Pandit Nehru joining the Quit Kashmir movement in the view of the Law Minister of India a wrong move, a blunder?
Absolutely, it's so crystal clear that when we are talking about making India a free nation, and there in Kashmir they are talking about quit India, and this something like, you know, Kashmir is always and has been always part of India, and to support a separatist movement in Kashmir by any Indian leader itself is wrong. Acharya Kripanani also had mentioned about when he visited Kashmir. So that means within the Congress party, Pandit Nehruji's stand was different from rest of the Congress leaders.
Sir, you've leveled a very serious charge against Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, accusing him of trying to put his agenda or fulfill some agenda before keeping India first. What was putting this personal and political agenda before national interest? Because again, you're quoting Maharaja Hari Singh in 1931 roundtable conferences saying he was an Indian first and a Maharaja later. But what was, in your appreciation, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's agenda that came before Indian national interest?
In the words of Nehru himself, everything is crystal clear. That when he said that the interest of Sheikh Abdullah has to be taken into consideration, the people of Jammu and Kashmir, larger people of Jammu and Kashmir, which are majority of them are Muslims, are to be consulted. All these yardsticks, you can very well see that it was driven by Nehru himself. No other Congress leader had stated that other than the ruler, anybody should be consulted for the accession. That is why when Nehruji's personal relationship with Sheikh Abdullah is very well known, and Nehruji in his own words have said that the interest of the Sheikh Abdullah has to be taken into account, and the administrative reforms should be done before or prior to the accession of Kashmir. All this leads to one single conclusion, that Nehruji had his own agenda, which he put it above the national interest.
And on what basis? On what basis are you concluding that Maharaja Hari Singh did not want a provisional accession to India and that this was Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's idea? After all, the Maharaja had very clearly talked of and had a standstill agreement both with India and Pakistan till he made up his mind, sir. So even after independence, he hadn't made up his mind.
precisely when Maharaja Hari Singh ji had made his intention very clear, things should have been a natural follow-up of Maharaja Hari Singh's wish. So when that was being ignored and Nehru ji kept on deterring the proposal being offered by Maharaja Hari Singh ji, that shows how Nehru ji had played a different role. I'm not saying that Nehru ji is anti-national. I'm not saying that Nehru ji had something he wanted to harm India. But what he did led to the harming of the national interest, and which exists till today, till Modi ji became Prime Minister. The problem was so acute, and today only after so many years we can see that Kashmir has the full semblance of Indian rules, Indian laws on the ground.
Sir, are you arguing today that the 5 historical blunders, as you put it, of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru in 1947 have only been rectified by Prime Minister Narendra Modi 7 decades later?
Absolutely. The blunders committed by Nehru ji, all the wrongs done by Pandit Nehru ji are completely undone by Narendra Modi ji, and this is a fact. And some people may look from the political angle, but for the years to come, generations to generation, people of India will salute Prime Minister Narendra Modi for once and for all settling the issue of Kashmir as it stands today. I'm not talking about the Pakistan occupied Kashmir or Gilgit-Baltistan, but within the territory of Jammu and Kashmir, which is now well under the control of our administration, the history has been made and people will never forget that.
Okay. But sir, are Gilgit and Baltistan part of Pakistan occupied Kashmir next on your agenda? We've seen statements that have come from the Raksha Mantri. We've seen statements that have come from top army officers in Jammu and Kashmir.
I'm not going to talk about that. I'm talking about something which is fact and lying before us, which every Indian must know the truth, and truth must be told.
Okay. Kiren Rijiju, the Law and Justice Minister of India, for joining me here on India Today. Many thanks. Thank you. Well, that is all we have time for on the news track this evening, but I want to leave you with images that have just come in from Bali, Indonesia. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has landed for the G20 Summit. India, of course, assumes the chairmanship of this elite group of 20 from starting the 1st of December. The Prime Minister was given a warm reception by the Indian diaspora in Indonesia. I leave you with these images.
भागीदारी करने शामिल करने के लिए पहुंचे हैं और जब एयरपोर्ट से प्रधानमंत्री अपने होटल पहुंचे तो ये एक दृश्य जो हमेशा हमें देखने को मिलता है, तमाम भारतीय जो वहां इंडोनेशिया में रहते हैं, इंडियन डायस्पोरा जो प्रवासी भारतीय हैं, वो प्रधानमंत्री का अभिवादन करने पहुंचे हैं।